So initially this was going to be just one video, but it got too long and I had to divide it into two in the middle of editing. And so this is me explaining why there is a book haul video that starts as if nothing ever happened. If you want to see the first part of this video, I'm going to leave the link somewhere over here. It's basically just me explaining kind of how I fell in love with reading, and then I dropped it, and then I picked it back up again. And then if you're just interested in the books that I bought when I found out that I loved reading again, you can just watch this video. And we're already in April, and I filmed this in the end of March, so Okay, so the first book that we have is Britt-Marie Was Here by Fredrik Backman. Now, I really don't know anything about this author. It says that he's the best-selling author of Anxious People, which honestly sounds like an interesting book as well. And I have not read anything from these author before, but like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, before I buy a book, I tend to read something out of it. I tend to read the back cover or the description, and I also kind of scroll through the first pages and see if the way that the book is written or narrated is interesting for me, because if I don't find it interesting or appealing or nice, I will most likely not read it at all. So I tend to read at least the first 2 pages before I buy a book. And this is actually next on my to read list. Like, I finished reading some books recently, and this is the next one that there is. So yeah, let's see what happens. After Britt-Marie Was Here, we have Factfullness by Hans Rosling with Ola Rosling and Anna Rosling, something else, another last name that I don't know how to pronounce. So I recently also started reading kind of self-development or self-help books, if you want. But the things that I have liked the most about the books, like those type of books that I have read, is the fact that they are based in behavioral science. And I don't feel like they are filling me this happy-go-lucky nonsense that you just have to have positive thinking or whatever. The books that I have read that are based on behavioral science explain the reasons why our mind behaves the way that it does, why we react in a certain way when we don't want to do something, or the obstacles that we put up for ourselves, which is something that has really helped me move forward in making these videos. And when it comes to Factfullness, it says that these are 10 reasons we're wrong about the world and why things are better than you think. A hopeful book about the potential for human progress when we work off facts rather than our inherent biases. And the fact that these are scientific studies and actual statistics and things that are based not only in our perception of things but actual facts, that's something that really interests me about this book, so I really wanted to give it a try. I am all about being challenged in the sense that I am not afraid of being wrong, because I know that my opinion is not the most educated one. I have no specific qualifications or educational background that confirms that I am right about anything. So if I ever encounter or see someone who has a different opinion to mine, I am all about having an open argument or discussion with them and talking about how our views are different. So if this book is going to tell me that I am wrong about something and it's going to give me actual better knowledge on the things that I don't know, I am all about that. And so I am really looking forward to reading it, and it's probably what I'm going to read after Britt-Marie Was Here. Next on the list, we have The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F by Mark Manson. I don't know how to pronounce the last name. I actually already read this book. It's a rather short book. It's super nice to actually read. Like, it feels comfortable whenever you're going through the pages. It feels really nice to read. And I had not heard anything of this book before I bought it. After reading it, I actually found that there were some people who were not really happy with the author, and especially one of the passages that he wrote in one of the chapters. It's called "You're Wrong About Everything, but So Am I." He was talking about something regarding false memories, and I believe the book must have been edited since then, because I reread the whole chapter looking for that story that had people so mad, and I could not for the life of me read it. There were some people who were not happy with the way that the book was redacted and how, like, some of the examples that he gives. And it says that it's very much directed towards white privileged men because there are some things that definitely do not apply for minorities. I don't find that I am upset by that. I don't find that I am triggered or upset by that. If there are some things that very well do not apply to me, I still believe that you can get great value out of this. The way that I see it, the main point of this book was to live life in a way that you only care about the truly important things in your life. Choose the things that are actually good and that you really want to value in your life, and also live in a way that does not harm anyone else. So if the main takeaway that white privileged men take out of this is value the actual most important things in life and live life in a way that you do not cause harm to anybody else, I believe that that is a good overall message that those white privileged men are going to take from this book. And then for the rest of the other people, they are going to take many different messages. I am probably going to be doing a review of this book by itself later down the road, but in general, I feel like you could take some useful insights out of this. Some of the complaints that they have is that it's too personal and it's not science-based, but actually because of the other books that I have read by behavioral scientists, I know that some of the things that he mentions are in fact behavioral science insights that he gets. He just doesn't name them like that. So you can rest assured that there is some sort of scientific background behind these things, behind the things that he mentions. I believe that he just mainly uses his personal anecdotes to make it more relatable, because we find things more relatable once they are presented to us in more mundane context. So I do feel like you could get some nice insights from this book. However, if personal anecdotes are not your thing, maybe not. Next on the list, we have Your Head is a Houseboat. And this is the first book ever that I have bought by a YouTuber. And the YouTuber is Truthless. His name is Campbell Walker. His YouTube channel is Truthless. And he talks about a lot of like self-discoveries type of stuff, meditation, journaling, mental health, illustration, things like that. I love his channel so much. I believe that the way that he talks about things is one of the most down-to-earth, relatable ways that people can talk about anything. And he really makes it a point to say, hey, I'm not an expert, and probably what I say is not going to work for you, but this is what has worked for me, and I hope that I can be of help. And he has been of very much help. Like, one of the things that I struggle with the most in my life is perfectionism, and I don't give myself the opportunity to do anything because I'm not going to be automatically perfect at it. So if I'm not going to excel, I might as well not do anything. And he put it in a way that really exemplified for me why I just need to give myself a chance to suck at the beginning until I actually get better and produce a diamond. So when he said that he was launching a book and that he was publishing, that's the word, publishing. When he said that he was publishing a book, and I had a friend in the States and I looked for the book in Amazon and it was there, I did not miss a beat in order to help to tell my friend to buy it for me and bring it back from the States to Argentina. And so anyways, this book, I am currently like reading half of this book, and like I'm missing half of the book. And I believe that you're definitely going to have a better way to understand yourself and your mind after reading this book, because the way that he expresses the insights that he gets is with metaphors, and that's like the way that he uses the metaphors are very easily understandable for people who might not really want to go to therapy because they don't understand the concepts of therapy. I think that this is a very good kind of gateway for you to then decide to go to therapy and kind of do some of that work. And this, he says very, very clearly that this is not a replacement for therapy, but it's definitely a good choice to kind of open the way and move towards that direction. So I'm really, really excited. I really love it. I'm really happy that I bought it. Next on the list, we have a 2-for-1 because these are two books that I bought quite a while ago, and I didn't continue reading because because I suck. I honestly suck sometimes. But remember that book that got me into reading in the first place? It was The Story Sisters by Alice Hoffman. And then I went into a bookshop and I found 2 more books by Alice Hoffman. This is The Rules of Magic and then Practical Magic. Now, this is a whole series of books. And I think that the first book, like, these were released in a very random order. I think like the first book that was released was Practical Magic back in like 2008 or something like that. It was released at some point, and then it was a prequel. Like, you have the prequel, which is The Rules of Magic, and then there is another book. I think that in total it's like 3 or 4 books, but I have these 2, which I believe is a good place to start. And I am not entirely sure where the direction of the books are going still, but Alice Hoffman is the author that single-handedly instilled the love of reading in my being. So I am going to read these books. I'm going to read them. Like, I'm reading Your Hair is a Houseboat right now, and I'm reading Britt-Marie Was Here next, and probably then Factfullness. So these 2 are probably going to be the next one to read, the next ones that I read, because these are the books that I read, that I bought a long time ago. So I'm going to read these 2 next. But Alice Hoffman is the author who single-handedly instilled the love of reading in my being. So I'm definitely going to give them a try. And whatever I can read from her, I am going to read from her, because she has my unconditional love for simply writing The Story Sisters. Okay, next on the list, we have The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. I really know nothing by this author. I have never read anything by this author before. But it looked like the cover looked really interesting when I saw it. And I'm going to be completely honest. I am biased towards a publishing house. This book was published by Penguin Random House, and like all of the Vampire Academy books and the Bloodlines series, they are published by Penguin or by a subsidiary or by a sub-publication, whatever you call it. But they are essentially by Penguin Random House, okay? And this book was also published by Penguin Random House. And there are other books that I like, the self-development books that I like. It's one of them is Think Big by Dr. Grace Lordan. And the other one is Atomic Habits, and I don't remember the name of the author, but probably whoever thinks like this, that's a very popular book. So anybody who sees the name is gonna probably remember the author better than I do. So anyways, those 2 books that I really, really liked are also published by Penguin Random House. So I am going to admit that I am biased towards the books that Penguin Random House publishes, but I don't think that's something bad. If the books are good, they are good. Next on the list, we have The Overstory by Richard Powers. And this story is about a kid. No, this is not the one about the kid. I am actually confusing. But it says shortlisted for the Man Booker Prize in 2008. I have, again, never read anything by Richard Powers. It says that he's the winner of the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction in 2019. And I just really like the cover. Like, this cover is really nice, and the letters have like that texture that is kind of sticky, but like you can actually feel the letters, and the overall like book design is just very pretty, and the pages are also very pretty. Like, the material of the pages is very pretty. I think that it's some sort of recycled paper, and it's just also nice to have that detail. But I saw the cover of the book and I really liked it, and then I read the back of the book, and it says the best novel ever written about trees, and really just one of the best novels, period. So I have no idea what the book is about. I really have no idea, but look, the inside of the book is also pretty. I found it very, very interesting, and this is also a book by Penguin Random House. Vintage is an imprint of Penguin Random House. So I am very, very interested. I am biased. I admit it. I know. But I don't care. Anyways, I feel like this is going to be a very interesting book. It's just pretty, and it's published by Penguin Random House. What more can I ask for? Next on the list, we have More Than This by Patrick Ness, something, I don't know. I think that this is the same dude who wrote the Chaos Walk-In trilogy, if I am not mistaken. Yeah, it's the same dude who wrote the Chaos Walk-In trilogy. And in the back of the cover, it says, a boy drowns, desperate and alone. In his final moments, he dies. Then he wakes, naked and bruised and thirsty, but alive. How can this be? And what is this strange, deserted place? As he struggles to understand what is happening, the boy dares to hope, might this not be the end? Might there be more to life? Or perhaps this afterlife? Anyways, I am really excited about this, and I feel like I'm really going to like the way, John Green really likes it, and it says, just read it. So just read it. I'm just gonna read it. I really like it. I think the format of the book is also very comfortable, so I'm excited. After more than this, we have The Memory Police by Yoko Ogawa. And this is the first book ever. This is the first book ever that I'm going to be reading by a Japanese author. And is of course translated into English because there's no way in hell that I know how to read Japanese. I watch a lot of anime and I read a lot of manga, but I am not, in no way fluent in Japanese, let alone reading Japanese. But anyways. I really like all of the Japanese stuff that I read, and this is kind of dystopian type of book. It's relatively short. It's less than 300 pages. And you might have guessed it or not, but it's also published by Vintage, which is also a Penguin Random House imprint. So I am very excited about this. I am never disappointed by anything that Penguin Random House publishes. So I'm very, very excited about this too. I don't know what's gonna happen in this book. I have absolutely no idea. But I read the first few pages and I read the back cover, and it's by a Japanese author and it's published by Penguin Random House. So I know that I am definitely in for a treat, because anything that is Japanese and it's also published by Penguin Random House, it's just gotta be good, right? I really, really enjoy all of the stories that come up in anime movies and TV shows, and just I really, really know that I'm going to enjoy this. It's a dystopian type of thing where memories are forbidden. It's amazing. So I'm really excited about reading this one. Okay, so next on the list we have the Manifesto on How to Be Interesting by Holly Bourne, and I was really interested by the cover, and then I read a little bit of these. So I read the first few pages of this book, and in the first few pages of this book, also the cover, right? Because the cover has the rules of Manifesto on how to be interested. It says rule 1, one must be attractive. Rule 2, one must make friends with other attractive people. Rule 3, one must fall in love with somebody forbidden. Rule 4, one must lose all sight of oneself, get into a huge emotional mess, and break down as a person. Rule 5, I guess you want to know how it ends. You'll just have to keep reading. And it's really interesting. I think that it piqued my interest. And then I read the first few pages. And in these first few pages, she talks about how she's only 17, but she has already been rejected for some of the book manuscripts that she has sent to publishing houses. And she talks in these first 2 or 3 pages, right? She talks about how there are people who have a midlife crisis or a quarter life crisis, and they don't know what the hell to do with their lives, and then they try to pursue their hopes and dreams and whatever. And she is way ahead of herself because she already had all of that, and she moved on to being the struggling artistic type, and is being rejected by publishing houses when sending her manuscripts. So I feel like I was really captivated by those few pages, and just the cover, the little details in the cover and the back cover, they were enough for me to be interested by the story. So I'm also looking forward to reading this, and I am decided to reading all of the books that I'm presenting this. I am not going to collect books without reading them anymore. I'm going to read them all. Okay, so because this video is getting very, very, very long, I'm going to be doing a 3-for-1 right now, because all of these books Like, maybe if you notice, all of these books are published by Penguin Random House. And I've already said that I am very much biased towards this publication. So I don't have to explain much why I bought all of these books. Just the mere fact that they are published by Penguin Random House is enough for me to just decide that I want to read them. So anyways, the first one that we have here is The Power by Naomi Alderman or something like that. And this is also kind of like a dystopian type of thing. It's about, I have never read anything by this author before, but the back cover doesn't really say much. It says, all over the world, women are discovering they have the power. With the flick of the fingers, they can inflict terrible pain, even death. Suddenly, every man on the planet finds they've lost control. The day of the girls has arrived. But where will it end? So, I read the first 2 or 3 pages of this book, and in the first few pages, they're describing type of, kind of like an assault encounter, and it's just very interesting the way that it's narrated. So I am also very, very excited to read this book. Then after that, we have On Beauty by Sadie Smith. It says winner of the Women's Prize for Fiction. I don't know if they're talking about this specific book or if they're talking about the author herself. 2 people, Romeo and Juliet type of thing, that like their families hate each other and then they fall in love with each other. So if I'm honest, this is the one that I am the least interested in, but published by Penguin Random House, so it cannot be bad. And I'm excited to read it. And then the last one that we have on the list is, well, the last one for these 3 is Elizabeth is Missing. And it says, Maud is forgetful. She makes a cup of tea and doesn't remember to drink it. She goes to the shops and forgets why she went. Sometimes her home is unrecognizable, or her daughter Helen seems a total stranger. But there is one thing Maud is sure of. Her friend Elizabeth is missing. The note in her pocket tells her so, and no matter who tells her to stop going on about it, to leave it alone, to shut up, Maud will get to the bottom of it. Because somewhere in Maud's damaged mind lies the answer to an unsolved 70-year-old mystery, one everyone has forgotten about. Everyone except Maud. So this is a person who has Alzheimer's, apparently, and she is the sole person who can uncover a mystery of a crime or a disappearance. So I feel like this is gonna be very interesting. I found it by coincidence in the back of the books at the bookshop, and I'm excited about reading it. And then the last book for this video is going to be After the Fire by Will Hill. I actually already read this book. It is the first book of this pile that I read, and it took me a while to get into it, but after I did, I finished reading it in about 2 or 3 days. It was super, super interesting. Like, after you get through the first probably 4 chapters, which are very short chapters, they're not long chapters, but after those first 4 chapters, it's really, really interesting. I thought that it was going to be more like a dystopian type of thing. It's not. It's based in the real world, and it's just a story about this cult type of community where there was a person claiming to be the prophet that communicated directly with God. And it's just, I am not a very religious person, so the way that people can be so easily manipulated by religion when their faith is really, really deep, it really shocks me in a way. So anyways, it's a very, very good book to read. And I was very shocked to find out that it's kind of inspired by true events. Like it's based off of something kind of similar that happened at some point in life in the States. So definitely read it. You can investigate a little bit more about that. I really loved the way that it was narrated. It was very, very gripping. The only thing that I would say that I don't like is that when you actually open it like this, it kind of gets messed up here, but I suppose that's just me wanting to have all of my books perfect. Anyways, that is all for today. I hope that you liked this kind of rambly video about me and all of the books that I bought. I will make sure to kind of share the next book haul that I have. And if you really liked this video, make sure to watch this other video where I review a Skillshare class by Thomas Frank on how to be more creatively productive. And also make sure to check out the links in the description below. Some of those are going to be affiliate links. Some of those are just going to be the links for the books in case you want to
buy them. The links for the books are not going to be affiliate links because I'm actually not a member of any affiliate programs right now, but the other links are going to be referral links for things that I already use, like Wise if you want an international bank account, or Binance if you want to start using crypto, or Skillshare if you want to start learning things. So take a look at those links. They're going to be useful things, and I'll see you all in the next one.